What advice would you give to anyone viewing this?
Stay flexible. That's a big one. And I think this is something that I learn and relearn and relearn and relearn and am reminded of and ignore and fail to do and relearn, is not to let your plans like over dictate what's happening. But I think, and I guess I was saying this a little bit earlier about like kind of learning to balance for myself the level of like planning versus not planning. I think it's good to have plans and to like visualize what might happen and to be prepared for what might happen and to be prepared for what you want to happen. But at the same time, you have to be graciously and happily and cheerfully and willingly able to go with what does happen. And especially in very informal situations like woofing and help exchange and just traveling in general. You know, like some people, I believe, I've never done this myself, but travel on very strict itineraries. Like at this hour on this day, we'll be here, we'll be doing this. And in my mind, that just sets you up for lots of disappointment, lots of things going wrong and not meeting your expectations. And I think it's great to be like, oh, well, we're going to be in this area and here are some of the things we could do. You know, do research. Don't like be ignorant going into a place, but also don't have such a strict regimen of what you think you're going to do that it causes you to feel negatively when the thing that you think is going to happen doesn't happen. You know, and so you always have to be prepared for these contingencies, like carry gear for rain. You know, have a rain jacket and a waterproof bag with you. Carry a second set of keys. You know, just be prepared for the weird shit that happens on the road to happen to you, because when all the little stuff that goes wrong isn't bugging you because you know you're going to be all right overall, then you can enjoy the overall. When you're getting bogged down with all the little stuff that's going wrong, that's always going to go wrong, but you can't enjoy the overall.
Well, kind of to build off Thomas, he said those little things kind of make up the overall arch, you know, the overall big picture. You know, it is the little details that, you know, make up life. And so many people get caught up in like, oh, well, I gotta hike this mountain to get to the best, most beautiful peak. And it's like, well, you know, that is a great moment, but what about all the small moments that build up to that? You know, like finding the place and the hikers that you met coming out of the trail and little plants that you found along the way and that little waterfall you had to climb up. You know, that's living moment to moment. You're not living for that future goal or spot you're trying to get to. You're just like, well, if I get there, I get there. If I don't, I don't. But I'm living fully right now. And I'm enjoying what's around me. And yeah, so moment to moment, details make the big arch. Yeah.
Very Buddhist. I love it.
Cool.
What would I say to them?
Yeah.
To frickin' do it.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate to do it, and you're never too old to do it.
You meet really interesting people.
Just do it. There's nothing.
It's great.
You're not gonna. I mean, you might die if you're too stupid about what you're doing, but you're not gonna die. You know, it's just a good experience. It's a good thing to do. It's not good to just stay in one place your whole life. You have to go beyond your comfort zone. It's part of learning about who you are as a person.
Agree.
True.
Perhaps we had lots of expectation and
Don't have too many expectations, I think.
Yeah,
just be open to what is available. Take it, and I don't mean things, but knowledge.
experiences, people. Yeah, good advice is to stay open because you will learn stuff anyway and you will enjoy the experience anyway, even if sometimes it's really hard. Like in Nova Scotia, we both cried because
Not at the same time, but
yeah, it was at two different moments, but that was also nice to be both of us because when it was too difficult for me, I could say to Paul, and when it was difficult to Paul, I hope help him a bit, then that's always nice.
sometimes we just wanted to quit and leave it. This didn't happen here because
No, because it was not well organized and Brock was a nice guy. He was not just trying to use us because it happens. But anyway, I think even if in Nova Scotia the woman was not nice, we would do it again. Even if we spend our time to work all the time, even if we had no free time, even if there was no food or no room for us. We learned lots of stuff. We meet very, very nice other helpers. The animals, it was really interesting. The place was really beautiful then.
And we even had the farm just for ourselves because she left and we were with another couple of helpers and we had to do everything. So it was very enriching experience, you know, but this was definitely not what we expected, so we had really to take what was good to take and to survive with the rest.
And we were proud of ourselves to have survived that. In fact, when we arrived at the 3 weeks, some of the people they left, some of the people they just complained a lot and then didn't want it to stay anymore. And some other just stayed 1 week. We've done the 3 weeks we said and we're proud of it because we wanted to have done what we were thinking.
And for this experience here in Bozeman, we also had a very project we could start and finish, and we're quite proud of the result.
Yeah.
And so,
anyway, you are always learning stuff and that's really cool.
And it can be not about the farm itself, but sometimes about interaction with people. So just.
And you will also have like very good advices and good example with the other helpers because everyone is taking the situation in his own way. And it's not your way to do it, but if you observe a bit, you will see that there are very positive people, and that's always really nice to meet positive people because it makes you more positive too. Then, do you say positiver? Anyway.
Do you have any thoughts on minimalism?
I mean, I used to a long time ago.
Only have a bag.
Yeah, when I lived in Newport. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard, but it's like easier. I feel like.
To have less?
Yeah, and like, I don't know. Your things make you after a while. I feel like.
And you don't have to sit there and choose what you gotta wear.
Yeah.
It's very minimal.
Can you talk more about your experience during that time? Or?
Well, I was like homeless in Newport, and I was like going from house to house. So instead of like having like bags, I was only like 16, so like I didn't like have a car or anything. So I just put it in my backpack, like my Taco Bell uniform, and like 2 pairs of shorts and like 2 shirts and some underwear and socks and some bras, and like my makeup and then my schoolwork, and that was it. And I don't know, it was I didn't lose anything ever.
Yeah.
But it was easy carrying all my stuff around with me. It made it a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Did you feel like more free or?
Yeah, I guess, because like I can literally just pick up my stuff and leave. Because it was so easy to pack.
I practice some extent of minimalism, and so for instance, just a concrete example, in my little cabin I have a antique thermos of water, and it sits over a sink and drains into a bucket. It's kind of silly, but I think it's kind of fascinating to be able to see how much water I use in a day, in a week, in a month, which is easy to do when you're using a small container because I know, okay, I've filled this 3 times a week for the last month, and then I can calculate how much water I've used. Where if you're using a tap, you'd probably never know. Mm-hmm. And it's probably a lot more than you think it is. And so I like that. I also like, in my cabin also I've got little electric can lights or something, little battery powered ones. And I've changed the batteries in those 3 times in 5 years. So I know how much electricity I'd use for lights in there. And I realized that you don't need a lot. And if you don't need a lot, then you don't need a huge solar panel. And I just kind of dig that.
So you kind of focus more on reducing your energy footprint sort of in a minimal way.
Yeah, I mean, in other ways, I'm not a minimalist.
But that's one part of it.
Yeah, that's one part of it.
Being mindful about what you use and waste, for instance.
Yeah. Like someone said, if you live in a tiny house, anyone can live in a tiny house as long as they also have a very large storage unit, which is kind of true. We collect a lot, and I do collect a lot too.
Yeah, well, you got projects going on.
That's cool.
Do you have a particular complaint about the average or typical American lifestyle?
I feel like people I know anyways are very wasteful.
Yeah, the people we grew up around, very violent people, or just like raging people, or abusive people.
Angry.
It just, like, everyone has their issues and everyone's upset about something at some point, but I feel like you come to a point where you don't want to feel like that anymore, so you don't. You like take it within yourself to be like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I feel like a lot of people don't do that, and that bothers me. To come to terms with putting yourself first or being responsible for yourself in a healthy way. Almost like, how many people fully do that? Nobody. I don't think anyone does.
Also, a lot of people that I know, like, when I mean like wasteful or like, I don't know, they don't concern, like, the environment, they just don't care about. Like, I grew up with my mom, like, buying all of us, like, fast food. Like, I remember last summer she bought us all fast food, me and all my sisters, at Wendy's. And when we were done eating, she literally just told us to throw it out the window. Like, over there, like, people just don't care.
I don't know that I have a lot of complaints about the average American lifestyle, because I figure if, people should do what they want to do. I don't know, at the risk of sounding like I really care a lot about this, I think it's a shame sometimes that people don't consider where their food comes from. And just that. Consider where it comes from, look into where it comes from. And I suspect that if people did that, they'd be a little bit more likely to start growing their own food. One thing I like least about America is how insular we are and how limited we are in learning new languages and learning about new cultures. I think it's, for instance, I heard that in Bozeman, which is a decent sized town, there is no immersion foreign language program. You can't send your kids to learn primarily Spanish when they're going to school. And kids don't really learn a foreign language well until high school, if that. So I think that's a shame.
So do you have any thoughts on selflessness in relation to hosting traffic?
Well, I'm definitely not selfless, and I actually believe in the virtue of selfishness. I think that people should look out for themselves and should. There's nothing wrong with that. And so, as an example, I'm building a new place. I want to have a guest room there that I can host. I mean, maybe it will be volunteer farm workers, but if it's not volunteer farm workers, I want to be able to host couch surfers. But I want to also be able to I want them to have their own entrance, so that if I don't want to spend the evening with them, I don't have to. Mm-hmm. If they don't want to spend the evening with me, they don't have to. So I think that just like having your in-laws come over, you have to balance it somehow, and that's how I'm going to try to balance it. To be able to say, hey, the door's open,
go make yourself comfortable.
I totally agree. Balance is important. You know, especially if you don't connect on the right level with your hosts or your couch surfers.
And even if you
know.
do, I mean, you've got to have some. You're going to be able to host a lot longer, a lot more times if you can have your privacy when you want your privacy.
Right.